Spanish, a language spoken by over 400 million people. And yet, whenever it appears in TV shows or movies, there seems to be no one in the room who actually speaks it to prevent silly mistakes from happening. This is their story. I just started watching Young Justice, and it's pretty good. For some reason, the DC universe has the best animated content, way better than Marvel. That's why I couldn't believe my ears when in episode 4 we have people talking in Spanish. There are so many mistakes here, I don't even know where to begin. But to put it simply, there were things in this dialogue I did not understand until I read the subtitles. Imagine that, I have to read subtitles to understand the dialogue that was supposedly in my native language. Let me show you some of the issues here.
Nuestro maestro sublime proclama.
Okay, so just from the accent, I can say that this voice actor does not speak Spanish very fluently, if at all, which is bad because these characters are supposed to be native speakers. Also, since the voice actor doesn't speak Spanish, they put the emphasis in all the wrong places, like if I said, I have a dream, instead of I have a dream.
Que saldrá.
Then he says saldrá instead of saldrá. He's putting the stress in the first syllable of the word instead of the second. And yeah, okay, you might think that this is a very small difference, but it is the difference between a record and to record, an import and to import, a refund and to refund. In fact, English is full of examples where changing the stress in a word changes it from a noun to a verb, so it is a very important difference. Spanish does something similar to this, but a lot more. In Spanish, changing the stress in a word can change it from an adjective to a verb conjugated in some way to a verb conjugated in another way. For example, if I say continuo, it means I continue. If I say continuó, it means he or she continued. And if I say continuo, it means continues. So it is a very important thing to get right, and in this case, saldrá doesn't even mean the wrong thing. It doesn't mean anything. Let's continue.
Esta instalación.
Okay, so the word he wanted to say was instalación, with an N at the end, but instead he said instalación, like if he was speaking French or something.
Sí, uno de ustedes derrota a su campeón.
Okay, so this phrase was surprisingly understandable, except that he keeps putting the emphasis in all the wrong places.
En combate singular.
Okay, so here I think that they use Google Translate, because they thought that single combat was translated as combate singular. But no, if I translate combate singular to English, it's gonna be translated as unique combat, as in a very unique way to fight. Which I guess it is, because not many people inject themselves with magic steroids before fighting, but a better translation would have been combate individual, which when translated to English is, well, single combat.
Solo que sea interesante.
That phrase was right. That's amazing! A single phrase without any mistakes.
Me ha devuelto.
Okay, so in this phrase he says, me ha devuelto, which means you have given me back, which grammatically it's fine, that's how people in Spain speak. Except that's how they speak in Spain, and this is supposed to be happening in Latin America, where it would have been a lot more common to hear me devolvió, which means you gave me back. It's like if I made a movie set in the United States where people spoke with British accents and said things like bollocks or twat. It would be silly, wouldn't it?
Mi mayor arma. ¿Cuál es el truco?
This phrase is also fine. Wow. My only complaint here is that he says mayor instead of mayor, but yeah, I mean, that's fine. I've heard people in real life speaking like that, so yeah, I can overlook that.
Ningún truco. No sería prueba de su destreza campeón.
But now we are back to the guy with the forced accent and the forced intonation. And now he's even making new mistakes I have never seen. Like, I'm not even sure what he wants to say. I mean, the subtitle says, it would hardly test his champion's prowess. But it's weird because it should be your prowess, right? Anyway, that's different from what I'm hearing in Spanish, because what I'm hearing in Spanish would be translated as otherwise it wouldn't be a test of your prowess, you champion. The problem here is calling the guy champion. Like, that word champion shouldn't be at the end of the sentence. It's not grammatical. I mean, it could be at the end of the sentence if you added a couple more words or you made some changes, but as it is very disorienting to hear.
Si no estaban a su mejor.
Okay, so now this expression, si no estaban a su mejor. First of all, you are talking to a single person in present tense, so it should be estás and not estaban. And second, a su mejor is the word-by-word translation of at your best. But word-by-word translations rarely work. It should be si no estás en tu mejor condición or si no das lo mejor de ti. Like, there should be some kind of noun after the word mejor.
¿Quieres mi mejor?
And then he replies, ¿Quieres mi mejor? Which again, you need a noun after the word mejor. It should be ¿Quieres lo mejor de mí? Or ¿Quieres mi mejor esfuerzo? Or something that actually makes grammatical sense. And then finally this whole thing is over, and thank God it was so awful. It's just so cringe-worthy to hear this and know that it is supposed to be my native language. Like, it's absurd. But truthfully, the voice actors did a great job here, and they are not at fault. They were hired to do lines in a foreign language, and I am sure they did their best. The fault for this crappy dialogue falls on whomever decided not to hire people who could actually speak the language for this scene. Or at least have a native speaker supervising the recordings to stop them from doing so many mistakes, or something. This is even sadder because in other episodes you see that they took the effort of making up languages for the Atlanteans and the Martians, and they are actually pretty good. I mean, the Atlantean one sounds a little bit forced, but the Martian one actually sounds like a real language, and the voice actor sounds really natural. Like, kudos to whomever made up that language and to the voice actor. That was really good. I mean, I love making up languages, and I recognize good conlanging when I see it. I just dream that one day my native language will get half the attention that made-up languages get. But until then, I will have more material for these videos.